That's how I was with Eazy-E. I loved Eazy-E.
Right, as a kid.
But I never could be friends with Eazy-E when I got with Dr. Dre. I could never say, damn, Eazy, you a bad motherfucker. But you call your shit was hard. I always had to be like that nigga. Because that's the stance I was in.
So Snoop Dogg was never with you?
Nah, he was never with me.
I know that you're very short on those two those two names. You have very little to say.
I can talk about them all day. I mean, you know, I make money from Dre and Snoop, so it don't matter.
Snoop was on, you know, we beat a murder trial for him, but then he was on probation. Then he got caught with 2 ounces of marijuana. Then he got caught with guns. Each time it's nothing. They're not gonna violate him because for the street guys know what I'm talking about. There's no puzzle.
All right, y'all, this one is messy. Every time people think the story of Eazy-E's death is old news, Suge Knight comes out of nowhere and drops another bombshell. And this time, he's dragging Snoop Dogg into it. None of this makes sense unless you know just how deep the drama ran between Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, Ruthless Records, and Death Row. See, Eazy-E was that guy. He wasn't just a rapper, he owned Ruthless Records, one of the most powerful labels in hip-hop. And Dr. Dre was actually under Eazy-E's label, where he produced and performed on tracks that were released through Ruthless. And even after Dre left to form Death Row, the work he did at Ruthless didn't just disappear. Eazy and his label still had a stake in it, meaning they collected royalties whenever those tracks were sold, played on the radio, or licensed for other uses. As for Snoop, he came into the picture a little later, joining Dre on Death Row. But because of the complicated web of contacts, publishing rights, and samples, Eazy could still profit indirectly. Beats, writing credits, and early collaborations sometimes earned him a cut. Basically, while Dre and Snoop were dissing him, Eazy was quietly cashing in.
No idea that you make money off product from Dr. Dre and Snoop. Now, how did that work out?
Basically, I had Dre signed as exclusive producer and exclusive artist. So when Dre tried to make his deal over at Interscope, you know, I was included for the next 6 years. So you can say all you want to say. Basically, you could diss me all you want, but I'm gonna get paid. Because that's why I say Dre Day's only Eazy's payday. And that's real.
Now, the whole thing with Dre leaving Ruthless for Death Row was super messy. There were threats, paperwork drama, and behind-the-scenes blackmail. That whole situation got ugly fast. And young Snoop was right in the middle of all this. Fresh out of Long Beach, just signed to Dre, trying to make it big, but walking straight into one of the biggest rap beefs of all time. Suddenly, Snoop was part of the war, whether he wanted it or not. And as you all know, things spilled off wax and into the streets, and everyone quickly picked their side. Of course, Snoop was riding with Dre and Death Row, so they both started dissing Eazy. And if you listen to some of Snoop's early diss tracks aimed at Eazy-E, you'll notice that unlike Eazy, Snoop never lived that life. He just rapped about it. See, Eazy-E grew up in Compton, and he didn't just rap about the streets, he lived them. From hustling on corners to running small-time operations, Eazy experienced the real danger, the real grind, the real consequences that came with that life. Snoop, on the other hand, grew up in Long Beach. And yes, he was around gangs, yes, he was involved with the Crips, but the streets he came from were different. And his rise was closely tied to Dr. Dre, Death Row, and the image-building machine around them. I mean, Martha Stewart is more gangster than Snoop. She actually did real prison time. And when it came to beefs, Snoop only wanted to be involved if it was not aggressive. He always wanted the TV, radio deals, wanted the mainstream coverage more than the street life. And if you remember, Eazy specifically coined the term studio gangster for Snoop and Dre, and he would clown them hard for it.
I just want to define it for Middle America, a studio gangster.
Somebody that's not real, they go in the studio and all of a sudden become hard when they used to do dance music.
And then another thing fans thought was fake about Snoop is how he jumped in the Eazy-E beef but wouldn't jump in the Bad Boy beef with Tupac. Then all of a sudden it was, they're my homies. I respect all of them.
East Coast, West Coast. It don't bother me or affect me. I'm Snoop Dogg. I never had any beef with anybody from the East. I look at the East-West thing as not a Snoop Dogg problem. And it doesn't affect me, but yet still it does affect me because I'm a West Coast pioneer and I'm in Death Row's family. And people like to say, well, Death Row and Bad Boy and Death Row. When I don't see no problems with nothing because I'm out here in New York right now. I haven't had a problem since I've been out here. It's been nothing but love. All the people, the public come up to me saying it ain't nothing but mad love. Or even some of the street heads came up and said it ain't nothing but love. It's just a misunderstanding.
Mind you, Pac had Snoop so scared that he was sleeping on a plane with a plastic knife in his hand. But right after Pac was gone and Suge ended up behind bars, Snoop jumped at the chance to show he was riding with Puff. He even appeared on the Steve Harvey show with Diddy just a few months after Tupac's death, talking about ending the East Coast-West Coast feud. And let's just say the timing of all that looked pretty suspicious.
You know, I know all about this East Coast-West Coast rivalry thing here, but we in Chicago now. This rivalry stuff, we gotta stop it, man. We stop that, we stop a lot of this violence. Now, whether y'all like it or not, y'all role models, and your music affect a lot of people, and you need to start considering yourself examples to these young people. If either one of you wants to use Steve Hightower's music and sample it, then I want to see a little East Coast, West Coast love up in here.
Yo, Steve, check this, man. All that East Coast, West Coast stuff is a bunch of media hype. It's been my dog from day one, you know what I'm saying? It's all good between me and him. That's my peoples.
For real, that's what we came in for. We came in to light it up and ride it up. We made music for him.
So Snoop chose sides in a beef that had nothing to do with him, and he was dissing Eazy-E for no reason. Meanwhile, he started the East Coast-West Coast tension by knocking down the towers in that New York, New York video. Then Snoop gets his trailer shot up and disses Biggie in unreleased songs. But when Pac came along, Snoop suddenly started acting like him, Biggie, and Puffy were all best friends. No wonder Eazy had no respect for Snoop.
It's gonna be me, Ren, Ice Cube, and Yella, because we staying sucker free in 93, so we don't deal with Dre. Because you know where he came from, world-class wrecking crew, so it's like that now, you know. We staying sucker free in 93. That's
so you mean it's static with you and Dre?
What? Dre ain't got no love.
No love?
No love.
Well, I want to start off with those studio gangsters out there.
No, wait. What's the I just want to define it for Middle America, a studio gangster.
Somebody that's not real, they go in the studio and all of a sudden become hard when they used to do dance music. Out there know how he really was. He was a dancer. Now he's trying to live a fantasy of stuff that he rap about. And I don't know, they think he's perpetrating, really. Or trying to be hard or trying to live up to everything that they talking about.
See, he didn't know nothing about doing street music until he hooked up with me anyway, you know. He used to do all that techno stuff, the Fly, he's bionic, turn out the lights.
You said there's a lot of things about fairy tale rappers. What's a fairy tale rapper, man?
Dr. Dre.
That's real. Talk to
But here's where the whole thing gets dark. There are claims that Snoop and Dre visited Eazy-E in the hospital before Eazy died. And many rap history sources allege that Dre was among the last people to see Eazy before his passing. This old Vibe magazine article says, on Friday, March 17, Dr. Dre, who's traded wicked insults with Eazy-E since the dissolution of NWA, paid a visit to Cedars-Sinai. Dre got in, he saw Eazy. Only he knows what, if anything, was communicated. By that time, the hospital switchboard had been blowing up for 2 days straight. And then 9 days later, Eazy died from complications related to AIDS. But as you all know, there's been a lot of speculation about the official story, especially after Suge Knight made that bizarre comment on Jimmy Kimmel about how folks don't shoot their ops anymore, they inject them with AIDS.
Technology is so high, right? Right. So if you shoot somebody, you go to jail forever. So the kids, you don't want to go to jail forever, right? So they got this new thing out there. People sell them all the time. They got this stuff they call, they get blood from somebody with AIDS, and then they shoot you with it.
Oh, so that seems bad.
That's a slow death.
Yeah.
An Eazy-E thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, no. Okay.
And that's where Snoop's name keeps popping up in all these theories. See, after Eazy passed, Snoop denied that he ever visited him in the hospital and claimed he didn't get a chance to tell Eazy how he really felt.
I loved Eazy-E.
Right, as a kid.
But I never could be friends with Eazy when I got with Dr. Dre. I could never say, damn, Eazy, you a bad motherfucker. I fuck with you, cuz your shit is hard. I always had to be like, fuck that nigga. Because that's the stance I was in.
Did you ever get to tell?
Never.
Oh, man.
Never.
But when it comes to Eazy's death, Snoop never talks about it. All he talks about now is how much of an Eazy fan he was. But it's interesting how Snoop is everyone's fan once they're dead.
How much shit I did as a youngster was this Eazy-E.
Bow wow wow. yippee yo, yippee yay, doggy dogs in the motherfucking house.
Cause I was such a fan of Eazy. I loved Eazy. He was the greatest motherfucker that came out the West Coast. He showed us how to do this shit. And I was so young and dumb, unbelieving that Dr. Dre's beef with them is personal when it was business. So I made it personal.
And then some fans also point to the timing of Eazy's illness and death. He passed away suddenly at the peak of the feud. And some conspiracy theorists believe that there's more to it. A lot of people are side-eyeing Snoop these days. Someone said, Snoop is the West Coast Fat Joe, always rewriting history. Stories about Pac, Eazy-E are all dressed up since they're not alive to dispute anything he says. And then someone else commented, I still think Snoop had something to do with Eazy-E's AIDS. Definitely paid someone to do it. Now this last comment may be a stretch, but even after all these years, the story around Eazy's death still hasn't settled. There are just too many unanswered questions and too many shady characters linked to it. And when you look at the pieces together, it almost feels like the puzzle will never be complete. Well, let me know what you think about Snoop's role in all this. Was he protecting someone? Protecting himself? How do you feel about him getting involved in Dre's beef with Eazy? And do you think he knows the real truth about Eazy's death? Drop your comments below and don't miss this next video.